advised. The opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello, my name's Harrington Boatco. Annette Ablan is not around, and yes, this is Icons and Circles, but I'll be sitting in to host for this program. Now, what are we going to be talking about? The topic is going to be the anti-dynasty petition. Now, many of us know, and as you well know, be it for broadcast TV and print, it has been going around the very same topic about why dynasty should be considered and be disqualified for those violators who belong to it. The problem is, more than 80% currently are already all dynasties. Now, the Supreme Court, no less, has decided that in Article 2, Section 26, it says, although it's against dynasties, it has to be whichever way or done by Congress, so to speak. Ang nagiging problema, ang Kongreso ang kailangan mag-decide o gumawa ng batas kung ano man talaga ang dinastiya. Now, there are sensitive issues between how far does dynasty go and the meaning and whatnot. These are issues that have been coming up of late, and they will persist until election day. The problem is, will Congress ever decide on what to decide on when it comes to dynasties? The answer is obviously no. You be the judge, whether you like it or not. I guess the one other option other than the People's Initiative, which has been done by MAD, a group mad against dynasties, and ang Kapatiran Party, may go to naught, but nevertheless the exercise continues. Of course, the voter ultimately can decide. Kung ayaw nila ng dynasty, ayaw nila ng mga kandidato nila, mga kasama sa dinastiya, di wag nila iboto. Ang pinoproblema po nga lang natin, miskin presidente, kasama sa dinastiya. Pagdating sa Senado, alam mo naman, it's called the family affair. Pagdating ng Kongreso, hanggang mga mayorship, governorship, lahat siya magkakamag-anak incorporated. So, bahala po kayo. With us in this show, we have Louis Baraugo, who is known also as moniker is Barok, who is actually an entrepreneur, a businessman, who's in with this show because he filed this very petition all the way up to the Supreme Court. And he will present to us a PowerPoint presentation as to why the petition needs or requires merit. Hi, Louis. Thanks for being on the show.
Hello, Harry. Thank you for this opportunity.
Wala si Annette, so I have to sit down and host with you. But I like your topic so much because I adhere to it, I believe in it, and I agree with it. Very quickly, where is the petition now? Ano nangyari?
Well, the petition was already, unfortunately, it was dismissed with finality last January.
Okay, yes, that's what I read. Why do you fear? You already knew somewhat that this can happen. The odds were against you. But what is it that frustrates you that the petition was junked just like that by the Supreme Court? You were saying earlier before the show that unfortunately you were not able to make your presentation. Why?
Well, I went to the Supreme Court not only with the objective of winning the case in the Supreme Court, but more so of presenting the case or the issues to the people. I was not even given that opportunity. The Supreme Court did not give me oral arguments.
No time of day.
No,
you didn't have your day in court.
I did not have my day in court. And of course, the media did not pick up the issue earlier. And that's the reason why I'm so happy and thankful that you have given me this opportunity, because I think the issues and the case did not end with the court dismissing my petition. I'm so happy that, as you mentioned earlier, there are so many movements now. There are signature campaigns and so many political moves to implement what already belongs to the people. And later on in my presentation, I will reveal how the people should regard themselves with in relation to those who are serving already, like the president. When he assumed his position, didn't he say that kayo ang amo ko?
Kayo ang boss ko.
Kayo ang boss ko. And now I would want to call on the president. Where is that now?
Okay.
It seems that it has been forgotten already.
Why the advocacy, Louis? Why the passion to promote this? Hindi ka naman politiko, hindi ka
Hindi
naman
ako
tumatakbo. Ano ang personal interest mo? What drives you?
Well, it is not actually accurate that I'm not a politician. I'm a politician in a different perspective. I fight for causes that I believe would be beneficial to the people. In that way, I'm a politician. I just don't have a position. And I
You're a
just
body
don't-
politic.
Yes, and I don't derive funds from government for my advocacy. This is purely public service without anything in return.
Oh, that's fantastic. That means you're doing your part, your responsibility as a
Yes.
citizen. Where do you see the dynasty issue going between now and the elections and for the rest of 2013?
I see that the people could now be better educated with what is really at stake here. No?
Totoo yan, umiikot na kasi ngayon.
Umiikot na, no? And they can also properly view those candidates who belong to dynasties. Some of these candidates do not actually have anything to offer except that they belong to a political dynasty, or that their relatives, their fathers, their mothers are incumbent or very powerful and influential politicians. That's about it. And I think the people deserve better.
Well, the Senate slate of the two big major parties between UNA and Team Pinoy obviously is saddled and racked up with dynasty issues.
Yes.
Almost every other candidate so far.
Yes.
Mukhang malala ang sitwasyon dyan.
Oh.
But when you go down to local politics, local government, it gets even worse. It mutates into different forms that become very, it's almost inconceivable, but the reality is the way it is. I wrote an article just recently, Louis. I was quoting Mahathir Mohamad of Malaysia when he came here and gave that talk in UST. I chanced upon it on Facebook, actually, of all platforms. And all the things I've been reading, I was telling myself in my article anyway, that if we were to take a measure, if we were to use today as the measure, be it our economics, the politics, the agriculture, industry, etc., if today was a measure that we will use between the birth of the Republic to 2013, I came to the one single conclusion that all our leaders have failed. All. Simply because we were the leading economy some 65, 70 years ago, today only to land as Asia's sixth man. Now, regardless of whether it's going up or down, the elasticity of positioning, or whether we are beginning to become a small tiger economy, the point is, today, if we were to take that measure, they have all failed. And one of the issues that Mohammed came out with, it's a family affair.
Yes.
So let's get on with your PowerPoint presentation. And as you go along, allow me to interrupt or to ask
sure.
some questions
Okay.
as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going to come up with this. You're going to view the laptop, my laptop here right in front of me. And Louis is going to go through the presentation so you'll better appreciate exactly what this petition is, what it stands for, as he goes through the presentation. I think it's on. There we go. Can we have the camera right onto it? There you go. Is that correct? Tama po yan sa camera? Okay, here we go.
Okay, tama
Louis,
po
it's
yan.
your
Okay.
show.
Thank you. The title of the petition, the presentation is Beraugo versus Comelec. This petition for mandamus to compel the Comelec to enforce the constitutional ban against political dynasties. It is the nature of this petition that there is no need for an enabling law. There is no need for Congress to pass a law to make this constitutional provision effective and implementable.
Galing.
Okay.
Keep going, Louis. It sounds exciting already.
I will go to the next
Sige.
slide, Harry.
Keep going, yes. Yes, please.
First, allow me to give a framework. No? In our system, in our state, no? The citizenry are the masters. And those who are in government
Tayo ang boss.
are servants. Just like what our president said when he just assumed his position as president of the republic, he said, kayo ang boss ko. And he was 100% correct. Now, what is the basis of all this? No? How is it related? How is his relationship with the people? Where does he derive his power? Well, he derives it from a document called the Constitution, where, can we flash on the screen?
Yes.
Where their job description is there.
Okay.
It's here. Okay. It is also an employment contract because their terms are also included there. You should only serve for 6 years. No? And their duties and responsibilities are also there. Okay? The do's and don'ts. What can they do and what they cannot do
The
with their
parameters are clear.
parameters. No? The, what do you call this? The,
Very clear guidelines
no.
nila, ang work contract.
yeah, there is a contract. It's between the people. And that contract is in the Constitution.
Okay.
Okay. The infrastructure, no? Who reports to who, and so on and so forth. And lastly, the procedures and processes. Okay. Allow me to repeat. The citizenry empowers the government. No? The citizenry limits the government. And the citizenry controls the government. Budget control, so on and so forth. No? It's in the Constitution. Okay. Now, allow me to quote Patrick Henry. No? He is very famous for that quote which says, give me liberty or give me death. No? And he defines the Constitution as the Constitution is not an instrument for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government because only those who have power can abuse it.
Very well said. I can only agree with you 100%.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there comes this provision in the Constitution. In Section 26, you mentioned earlier, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, it says, the state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and prohibit political dynasties as may be defined by law.
Yun ang problema.
The
those
only
last 6
problem
words.
there is the last 6 words.
Yes.
Now, it is my position with this petition that there is actually no problem because the spirit of the law is very clear. Okay, can we go to the next slide?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how I see to simplify matters. No? In my petition, I stated to the Supreme Court that this provision is a state policy. You know, the Constitution is divided into different sections and paragraphs. It is stated there that the state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and so on and so forth. It is a state policy. It is not only written there in some sections. No, it is a policy that defines the Philippines. Okay? And look at the wording. It is a guarantee. Ano ba ang guarantee?
Naninigurado, sinisigurado.
Sinisigurado. It is also a prohibition. Now, there are many prohibitions. When we say, okay, bawal ang droga, that is a prohibition.
Bawal yan, period.
Yes. Eh, bawal rin ang political dynasty.
I believe so. It's so very clear as written.
Yes.
Pero those last 6 words for some reason. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. Now, because it is a guarantee, and it is a prohibition, it is a state policy, it now becomes a right. And once something is a right in our system of laws, a system of government, it is demandable. And that's the reason why Luis C. Baroque Birago went to the Supreme Court and demanded, give me that, because that is my right. Okay? So, can I go to the next slide?
Yes, yes, please.
Can we flash it on the screen, please? Okay. This Pentagon, okay, I feel is greater than what they say is as may be defined by law. No? It is a state policy, it is a guarantee, it is a absolute prohibition, it is a right, and it is demandable. It's greater than as may be defined by law, which is, I think, is an abomination because the spirit of the law is very clear. Number two, there has been 25 years already that has passed and no law that enables, that defines dynasty has been passed by Congress, obviously because of conflict of interest. And maybe
The mga violators are right there.
they are right there. No, they cannot legislate their own demise.
And
They
will not.
cannot legislate something that will,
They should, but they will not.
they will not. That's human nature, no?
Yes.
Now, as I said, ang taong bayan, no? Ang amo. And yet, we go to the Supreme Court begging for what we deserve.
Baka naman kasi takot na yung Supreme Court kasi misking hepe nila tinanggal ng presidente, di ba, na-impeach.
Yun
So,
ang masama.
takot lahat ng mga associate justice. Kaya kung ano man sabihin ng palasyo, sige, sunod na lang tayo, baka tayo pa matira sunod dyan.
But it is my opinion also that should they rise to the occasion, they become
Heroes.
heroes.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
Their tails were between their legs and they decided to keep quiet.
Yes.
But continue, yes, please.
Okay. Now, can we flash again on the screen?
Let's go back to the PowerPoint. There you go.
Now, it is my contention that the right of the people is always greater than that 6 words in the Constitution, as may be provided by law, which is actually no longer necessary, as I will explain later in my presentation. Okay. Let's proceed to the next slide. Okay. Again, it is my contention that this Pentagon that secures the people's interests, the people's rights, is equal now to the Supreme Court using or interpreting or ruling in favor of the reading of those 6 words in the nature of the spirit of the law, and because the same Constitution also provides that the COMELEC can easily settle the definition of these 6 words, of the dynasty,
Should it wish to and take the
Yes.
opportunity to become the hero for the people.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is otherwise. But yes, please.
Can we flash again the... And again, my petition relied heavily on a case, the Manila Prince Hotel versus GSIS case, which is similar to
It can be used as a precedent.
Yes, it can be used as a precedent. Okay, allow me to continue. Okay. In the Manila Prince Hotel versus GSIS, these are the salient points. No? It says that the Supreme Court, in that case, shall never shun the duty to defend the Constitution. I called on them, the Supreme Court, to defend the Constitution when I filed this case. And they did not. Just remember, Harry, that, and friends, that when the Constitution says something, it does not only mandate the President, the executive branch of government. It also orders the legislative branch and the judicial branch of government. They are co-equal.
Co-equal.
Okay. Now, in the case of Manila Prince Hotel versus GSIS, the Supreme Court in that case also said that it cannot allow government a defense based on failure to act.
Yes. Very clear nga, no?
Katamaran is not a defense. Or what you call it, you know.
Buti na lang tayong dalawa hindi abogasya. Kung hindi, baka tayo pabirahin at matanggal pa yung lisensya natin to operate as a lawyer. But go ahead.
Number 3, it said, where there is a right, there is a remedy. And where is that remedy now?
Wala. Gone.
And I said earlier, no, constitutional mandate directed to all 3 branches of government. And lastly, there they played the hero in that case. Supreme Court said, the Supreme Court must remedy government's inaction. Kung ayaw nyo, kami. Ayaw nyo magpasa ng batas, kami. Some people are saying that the Supreme Court cannot pass laws. Of course it can. No? In the decisions of the Supreme Courts are laws.
That's true.
These are precedents that must be followed by everybody. Okay.
Louis, we're at the bottom of the hour. Now, we're going to have to take a short break, but when we do come back, we're going to continue with the PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, the situation is rather odd, wherein the presentation of events and the procedural presentation of Mr. Louis shows very clearly how it prudently shows why dapat nag-err dito ang Supreme Court. Now, while judicial legislation is a form of legislation, the opportunity is lost to champion the people. But who, tama nga naman si Louis, sino ba dapat, ang karapat-dapat na mumosisyon at kung sino dapat are the values supposed to be given to? Hindi ba dapat yung taong bayan? Hindi ba po dapat tayo? Pero nangyayari po na iba. I guess the rule of law has taken a different stand, maybe a different road or a different path. Either way, are we still the boss? Are we really the main objective for freedom, legal issues, and for our good? You already know the answers, but we're going to go back to this after the short break and continue this presentation to finally present to you this opportunity that has been robbed of Louis and his personal advocacy. We'll be right back.